for the introduction. Over the past 10 years, many companies have migrated to cloud-based technologies to avoid budgetary limitation investing in large data center capital projects will help to develop software flexibility, while the cloud computing provides a number of benefits for companies, but it still introduces some risks. For example, vendor lock-in brings the same risk to cloud as the data center. Vendor lock-in generally defined as technical lock-in and customer lock-in. It makes customer must depend on one vendor to provide products and services, and the customer cannot use other products and services from another vendor until have pay extra cost.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Uzma Binti Zamanhuri. So our research method that have been chosen by our group is document analysis. Document analysis is used to review, analyze, and collect qualitative data from previous documents and journals. Document analysis can be divided into three different parts, which is public records, personal documents, and physical evidence. And there are total 6 criteria essential to cover the knowledge of document analysis, which is form and type, the physical condition, content, purpose of the document, information about the document, and whether the content really represent the document.
Hello, my name is Afiqah Binti Ahmad Daud, and now I will explain about the factors of vendor login. There are 3 factors which will cause vendor login, which is cost, time, and software migration. Okay, for the cost, it is basic concept for the user to pay for what they use. Will also include the inbound and outbound bandwidth used for data transmission, as well as the storage space that the data occupies in the provider data center. This will get the user login with the vendor. This is because when the user has stored a huge amount of data in the cloud and decided to move into different vendor, they need to download their data first, and this will cost a lot of money because they will be charged based on the amount of the data. If they want to upload the new data, the data to the new vendor, they will also be charged. They are also have migration costs. They will be cost a lot of money, and this is why some of the user decided not to move not to migrate to another vendor. The second one is time. To transfer the huge amount of data, it could take from few hours to several days. This is because some vendor may have limitation of bandwidth and will slow down the migration process. And for enterprise or client who use real-time application, having no access to their data for days is a big no. And the last one is a software migration. Software migration usually apply to platform as a service, in which occur when the client decided to move their application to another vendor. Due to each cloud provider have their own set of features, language, and language support, it is difficult to have to move the application. Application that have been developed using any vendor platform and using their specific APIs will cause the login. Software migration is the worst login for the client, as they need to build a whole new application from the new vendor. It is time consuming, high cost, and also more effort.
Vendor lock-in have created several effects in the cloud computing environment. The effects is the part where the process of vendor lock-in is managing the whole process between user and cloud service provider. One of the effects of vendor lock-in is lack of standards. The main purpose of standardization is to support the data and also applications served by different type and service vendors to integrate together. Lack of standard will cause the cloud computing will be hard and trickier to use, as it may restrict and limit the interoperability and causing problems regarding its consistency between inconsistencies such as the security. Secondly, user will not be able to easily transfer data or application between different vendors. Lastly, the lack of standardization often occur if there are any migration, integration, or exchange resources is required. But the major problem aspect is for the application to comply and integrate with other API cloud service. This will lead to more problem, which is higher cost, project delays, and others. For the second effects of vendor lock-in is the technical barriers. Data portability and integration challenges are some of the technical barriers that happened due to vendor lock-in. Vendor lock-in create a concern towards every enterprises and businesses to move their data easily, because users' personal data might be missing or misused. Integration is one of the main reasons on why some organizations do a transition from one cloud service provider to other cloud service provider. Some organizations just abandon the use of cloud application due to the integration. The third effects of vendor lock-in is lack of portability hinders from migrating. Many organizations often choose a cloud provider according to security related to that cloud provider, but forget to include the cloud portability when you choosing the suitable cloud provider. This lead to the difficulty it could use for the organization and the cloud provider when the organization want to change to another cloud provider. The existence of vendor lock-in in cloud computing will create a cloud that is lack of portability, where the process to move or transfer the data from one cloud provider to another will not running smoothly.
Okay, for my part, I will do about ways to overcome in the vendor lock-in problem. So there are many cases that company trap in the vendor lock-in problem, and the biggest mistake that the company have done are doing lack of ordinance in the earlier stage of deployment to meet their appropriate requirement. So the first way is avoid situations where lack of data access for interoperability capability limits you. So this is the one of the biggest problem in the vendor lock-in. When you have limit storage to access your data. So before you user went to choose their suitable providers, user need to know about all data about the storage and all information about the providers to overcome the situation. So the second is be wary of proprietary data formats that mostly many data that kept by providers in the form of proprietary data formats, which is inaccessibility and hard for user to change the data into the easier form when user need to use the data. In other words, so user need to avoid these proprietary data formats to ensure that user no need to go through a long crucial transformation process when it exits from one vendor providers to another vendor providers. And the third is about escape the pool of data availability. This is the last one, which is mostly many of company endanger with the providers by using the data from providers from the beginning of their confederacy. But some of solution is by using a lot of providers to start. One of that is using data poodles. That's all for my part. Thank you.
Okay, I'm in charge for the conclusion part. Before go to the vendor login, it's better to talk about the technology lockdown. With the rapid development of cloud computing technology, technology lockout is still the main obstacle for many users to accept the cloud computing process. We got a few conclusions on these topics. Financial login is one of the most difficult problems to solve, but don't forget to consider other aspects, such as dependence on the ecosystem. No product can completely avoid locking. In the best case, we can only reduce the lock that may be encountered at a certain level in the architecture to a certain product. And also, this topic can always lead to the heated discussion in the technical communities. Many scholars who are not optimistic about the vendor login hope that someday it is able to completely solve such problems through a certain technology ways. And also, similar to the marriage, companies face IT technology logins. That is, they can only use certain vendors' products in certain key functions, such as outsourced cloud computing service. If they can properly handle the mutual benefit, that is actually good. But if you need a device problem, the result will be very unpredictable and even cost a lot.